jet tempur AS telah tiba di Filipina. Simak cuplikan selengkapnya berikut ini.
China is panicking, and for good reason. 20 American F-16 fighter jets have just touched down in the Philippines, sending shockwaves through the Asia-Pacific region. Is this a warning, a message, or the first step in a new balance of power? Buckle up, because what's happening right now could redefine the military landscape of the South China Sea forever.
China has warned the Philippines against purchasing F-16 fighter jets from the US, saying that the deal was threatening regional peace. The Chinese reaction came after the US approved the possible sale of jets in a $5.58 billion.
It's official. 20 F-16 Fighting Falcons from the United States Air Force have arrived at a Philippine airbase in a move that's anything but routine. This is no drill. This is no exercise. This is strategic military posturing at its most precise and calculated level. The jets landed amid escalating tensions in the South China Sea, where Chinese maritime militia vessels continue to harass Philippine fishing boats and military patrols. From the Spratly Islands to the Scarborough Shoal, China's grip on these contested waters is tightening. But now, the US isn't just watching from the sidelines, it's stepping directly into the arena. Why does the arrival of F-16s matter so much? Let's break it down. The F-16 Fighting Falcon is no ordinary jet. It's fast, lethal, and battle-tested, capable of speeds over Mach 2 and equipped with precision-guided munitions. These fighters are built for dominance.
They can dogfight. They can strike ground targets. They can enforce airspace. In the skies over the Philippines, they serve as a clear message. The U.S. is here, and it's ready. And they're not here for a vacation. The U.S. Air Force isn't just deploying jets. It's also sending a message to Beijing. Back off. The Chinese government is reportedly furious. State-run media immediately began framing the deployment as escalatory and provocative. Military analysts in Beijing are calling this a direct threat to China's territorial claims. But beneath the rhetoric, there's nervousness. China knows what F-16s represent, not just American firepower, but an ironclad US-Philippine alliance in action. China's countermeasures, increased patrols, rapid military drills near Taiwan, and threats of a strong response. But are those just words, or the start of something more dangerous? Why the Philippines? Simple. Location, location, location. Situated right on the front lines of the South China Sea, the Philippines is the ideal launch pad for surveillance, interception, and, if needed, combat operations. Beijing has articulated a trenchant rebuttal following the U.S. State Department's endorsement of a colossal arms transaction, approving the transfer of nearly $5.6 billion worth of F-16 fighter jets and auxiliary military paraphernalia to the Republic of the Philippines. China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs lambasted the maneuver, accusing Washington of exacerbating already volatile territorial discord in the Asia-Pacific arena, metaphorically stoking embers into conflagration. The statement framed the sale as emblematic of a wider pattern of provocations, endangering regional equilibrium. Gravitas behind the deal. The weapons pact emerges against the backdrop of simmering friction between Beijing and Manila, long a linchpin ally of Washington, centered on sovereignty disputes in the South China Sea. China's expanding maritime incursions, far removed from its littoral zones and deep within waters internationally acknowledged as Philippine jurisdiction, have catalyzed fresh apprehensions. Reacting to these assertive maritime overtures, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has doubled down on fortifying his nation's strategic rapport with the United States. His administration has earmarked an estimated $35 billion over the next 10 years for a sweeping overhaul of its antiquated military apparatus. Specifics of the armament agreement. In a statement issued Tuesday, the U.S. State Department unveiled its formal approval for a sweeping arms package to Manila, encompassing 16 F-16 C Block 70/72 fighters and 4 F-16D models. The transaction includes Sidewinder air-to-air missile systems, cutting-edge radar arrays, logistical components, and comprehensive personnel training. According to the department's communique, the sale advances the foreign policy and national security ambitions of the United States by reinforcing the defensive architecture of a key regional ally, thereby bolstering political constancy, tranquility, and shared prosperity across Southeast Asia. China's censure. Speaking at a scheduled press engagement on Wednesday, Chinese Foreign Ministry Representative Guo Jiakun inveighed against the transaction, warning that the alliance must not jeopardize the legitimate interests of external parties nor imperil regional harmony or magnify geopolitical frictions. Guo launched a rhetorical salvo querying, "Who truly fans the embers? Who crafts the specter of military contention? Who's sculpting Asia into a ticking tinderbox?" Regional actors are no longer cloaked in naivete. Manila's defensive stance. In response to the mounting critiques, Jonathan Malaya, spokesperson for the Philippine National Security Council, reiterated that the procurement is singularly aimed at sovereign defense and devoid of antagonistic intent. Notably, whispers from within Manila's defense circles suggest that the Marcos administration is also eyeing an additional fleet of Swedish-engineered Saab Gripen E jets. While the American F-16s may immediately satisfy the Philippine Air Force's modernization blueprint, the door remains ajar for future acquisitions of Gripens to complement air capabilities. Presently, the Philippines maintains a modest aerial fleet composed of FA-50PH aircraft, South Korean in origin, operational yet limited in scope and technology when juxtaposed against current regional standards. Statements and sentiments. Philippine National Security Council's Jonathan Malaya underscored, "We would like to assure the People's Republic of China that the planned procurement of the F-16 fighter jets to the Philippine arsenal does not in any way harm the interest of any third party." Echoing a strategic rationale, the U.S. State Department articulated, "The sale will augment the armed forces of the Philippines' ability to defend vital national interests and territory, while also heightening operational synergy with U.S. military elements." The Philippines is well positioned to assimilate this advanced arsenal into its command structure. What lies ahead? The fate of the F-16 package now rests with the U.S. Congress, where it awaits legislative scrutiny and possible ratification. Should the transaction be greenlit, it would represent one of the Philippines' most formidable defense acquisitions to date, deepening bilateral military interoperability and further enmeshing the security frameworks of Manila and Washington. Under the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, the U.S. now has access to key Philippine military bases. That means quicker deployment, more joint training, and a bigger footprint just miles from Chinese-occupied reefs. And it's not just about jets. Think logistics, drones, missile defense systems, radar installations. Every piece of hardware the U.S. brings makes it harder for China to make a move without being seen or stopped. This move fits into a much larger puzzle. U.S. forces aren't just reinforcing the Philippines, they're shoring up a broader regional strategy. Expect more joint drills, expect Chinese warships to shadow American jets, expect a rise in tensions, but also a bolstering of deterrence. Because the truth is, these F-16s are more than aircraft. They're a red line, a flying message that says, the Philippines is not alone, and if Beijing thinks otherwise, they might just find themselves facing not one, but many nations ready to push back. What do you think? Was this the right move by the U.S.? Is this bold enough or too bold? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit like if you're watching the chessboard unfold, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates on the Pacific power struggle. This is just the beginning.